Hello, everyone, and I am extremely delighted to have with me one of my dear students, Dr. Alfa
Thank you, ma'am.
Saifi. He's a proud DAMSONIAN, and he's given me again an opportunity to interview him today. He's secured an All India Rank 29 in AIIMS June 2020 postgraduate entrance examination. So, heartiest congratulations, Alpha, and this has been your second victory. So, how does it feel to be a constant winner?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am. You had an immense contribution in this, and I felt it was actually not believable for me at one point of time. I had to recheck my roll number again and again with the result. So
Okay,
it was very amazing. Like you cannot
great.
put into words that feeling.
Getting a double-digit rank in such a prestigious institute where we all want to, pursue our post-graduation is commendable.
Absolutely,
I
ma'am.
just want to
Thank you so
recap
much, ma'am.
Alpha that Alpha has had secured an All India rank of 257 in NEET, and he had a Delhi State rank of 13. And if I remember that you've taken up radiology in MAMC. So the first thing
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
to know, Alpha, is that did a lot of people tell you that why do you need to give another exam? Ho to gaya, relax karo or chill karo, and sort of there must be people telling you not to go for the exam. So I really want to first know what was your mindset after doing so well to appear for yet another exam and go for it all out. So what was your mindset?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, there were a lot of people who said that "Ab kyun kar raha hai? Why do you want to waste your time? You can relax. You have a seat in your hand. You have such an amazing rank. Why do you want to even
Right.
start preparing again? Why do you want to take that burden?" So
That's right.
basically, yeah, so AIIMS is everyone's dream, and it was mine also. So in November, I took the exam and I got a rank of around 369. But my preparation was not very aim specific, which it should
Mm-hmm.
have been, because the
Mm-hmm.
internship in MAMC is extremely hectic, extremely hectic.
Right.
So I did not have that much amount of time to go into that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I appeared for NEET exam. I got an amazing rank, which was also unbelievable. But then I had this little void inside me that I don't know. Some people might call it foolish, but it's all about my satisfaction, what I want to feel. So
Right.
yeah, so like I remember when I came to see you with my NEET rank, you said कि life में कुछ भी regrets नहीं रहने चाहिए. So I had a seat in my hand and I had nothing to do in the lockdown. So
Right.
I thought, even if I prepare for the exam, that knowledge will obviously augment me in my residency, because no knowledge goes waste. And since radio is a type of a branch where you need that overall knowledge, so it
True.
definitely would not have gone to waste. So
That's
yeah, so
wonderful.
that was,
So if I put it in just in other words for you, I mean, you saw the exam as a new opportunity rather than as a
yeah,
burden or something that is going to sort of hamper you. You took it as an opportunity and you wanted to fill this void that you had by appearing for the
definitely.
exam. And I'm glad you did it, right?
Ma'am, not new. I would call it as my last opportunity. So I had to give all my best. So
That's wonderful. And Alpha has been a 3 year student with us right from his foundation years. So we've seen him grow into now a specialist, which is such a grand feeling for teachers. So Alpha, I would really want to ask you, before we go on to AIMS specific preparation, can you tell us something about your journey? Because you started early, and do you think that it really helped in cracking, big exams right in the first go, even during with your internship? Because otherwise people would say, drop low, prepare again, give a full year, right? So do you
yeah,
think that when you
yes, ma'am.
started your journey early, it sort of accelerated your performance?
Ma'am, definitely. So if you start early, the only difference between you starting early and a person starting an internship is the basic foundation and concept. which is
Yes.
extremely important. So if you start early, because during internship you cannot study everything, you can study the main things. And what will set you apart from others is if you start early, you have strong concepts which no one can take away from you. So
Right.
starting early gave me time to build upon my concepts very much. So I started for the PG specific preparation. I started in third year, because in second year I thought that those basic conceptual subjects you have to build on your own, and then you have to augment your knowledge to apply it. So
Right.
I started my journey with DAMS in, I think, third year with the foundation course, and to fill that lacuna of the first and second year subjects, because I'm that kind of a person who cannot study from anyone else's notes. I have to make
Right.
my own notes. I have to attend those classes. So
Mm-hmm.
those classes. I thought that I'll build my concepts of the second year subjects in the second year itself, and then I'll attend that the classes in final year.
Okay.
So I attended third and fourth year subjects in third year, and first and second year subjects in final year. So before my internship, I had a set of notes and the material which I needed for my preparation. So in internship, I did not have to run around searching for notes and getting stuff photocopied, which I would not have preferred anyway.
I understand, and I think that is the wisest thing. You were ready with all the, if I put it like that, with all the arms and ammunitions required for this competitive exam. And all you had to do in internship was reread them, revise them, and get into a practice of testing as
Yes,
well,
ma'am.
which you did with a test and discussion course as a follow up, right? And now
Exactly.
come to your preparation for this particular exam, right? And now you started after NEET, so how did you start again? As I say, a lot of people will say it's so difficult to start all over again, and you don't understand what to do and what not to do, and especially when the time is less. So I would really want to
Yes, ma'am.
ask this, because there would be a category of students now who would also be appearing for AIIMS November exams, or central institutes in the November exam, and they will be in the same dilemma, right? That when you have to start,
Right.
how do you sort of identify what you're going to do?
Ma'am, when the result came out, the NEET result came out, it was January end. So I did
Hmm.
not do anything till January end. So
Right.
I was all set to prepare for AIIMS, and I was just waiting for the NEET result, which I did not expect that I'll get such a good rank. So
Hmm.
when the result came out, obviously I was very happy, and that added up to my inertia of not starting the preparation, because I had
Okay.
a seat in rank. I had such a wonderful rank in my hand. So it was all an addition to the inertia that we have. But
Right.
so I'll tell you honestly, started when the lockdown was imposed. So it
Okay.
was, I think, around the later part of March. So I started. I thought the lockdown will definitely go on for 2-3 months, and AIIMS is. I have something in mind. I need to work hard for that. So I started. First, I wanted that motivation. So I watched some of the old interviews of AIIMS toppers, and so I was very mesmerized by that. I said I want to be there. So that was
Right.
some motivation for me. So like, it's always about seeing yourself on the other side.
That's true.
So
That's
that,
true.
yeah. So with that AIIMS PG tag, and so that was a pretty good motivation for me. So basically, I started with I wanted to make my preparation a bit different this time, because in an
Mhm.
internship I was not very oriented towards the AIIMS specific preparation, because I would like to tell that AIIMS, and everyone else says that AIIMS is a very specific exam. So they have a very specific set of topics that they like to ask,
Mhm.
and basically the concepts behind them. So my preparation was focused on the previous year AIIMS questions,
Okay.
the previous year AIIMS pattern, and the AIIMS capsule. These two, I would say, these two things were the foundation of my preparation this time.
Okay. So
So
did you utilize the resources on e-medicals for that?
Yes,
The
ma'am. Very
papers
much.
we've given video discussions, and I think we cover almost 6 to 7 year previous year papers of AIIMS on e-medicals itself, right? So, did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
utilize them, and did you start doing in a retrograde manner for those topics?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my aim was to make a set of notes which included the previous year discussed questions and AIMS
Okay.
capsule, so that when I come closer to the exam, I have something I can rely upon. I need not go back to all the subjects, the vast knowledge. So I had that crisp set of things I had to study before the exam. So what I did was I watched Sumesa's video, and Sir said that you have to do at least past 3 years papers. That means you have to do 6 papers in total.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I made it a point that I used to wake up, I used to see the discussed videos on eMedicals, and I used to note down everything that was mentioned in the videos. So one advantage of those videos was that you did not have just the answer of the question; you had the explanation of the answer and the vicinity of the answer as well. That topic also.
Right,
Like if
right.
malignant melanoma is being discussed, they'll discuss about every aspect of malignant melanoma that is important.
So
So
that
if that topic, yeah,
right,
if
you do
that
the
topic is repeated,
discussion itself.
yes, ma'am.
Right.
So I did not have time to do the previous like 2015, 16 questions. So what I did was I closer to the exam, like 15 days before the exam, the e-medicals has a set of solved questions the previous year. So I just flipped through those things, and the topics which I felt that I'm not confident, I just gave it a look.
Okay. And did you give the mock exam as well, Bache?
Yes, ma'am. So it's a funny story. So I also took the CBT as well.
Okay.
So,
And did you do well in
uh,
the CV?
ma'am, I in the CBT exam, I scored a rank of 49,
Okay.
and
And
yeah.
now
So
it's
I thought, yeah, I thought like if I put more effort into my preparation, if I be more regular with revision, so I'll be able to, yeah. So
great.
then I took the mock exam, and my mock rank was, I think my mock rank was 300. So that was a
Okay.
pretty, yeah. So that was a moment for me to introspect what went wrong. So
Right.
I had two choices. Either I would have been sad by that 300 rank after having a
Right.
rank of 49 in my hand, and or I would have like because I think it
Got-
was around 15 days before the actual AIIMS exam, 15 20 days
Yeah.
before. So I thought I have just this much number of days with me, and I'll make it or break it. So
And you
in a
did.
way, that was also some kind of a motivation that I needed to pick up the pace.
So, that is what makes you a topper or a top rank holder as well. The perspective with which you look at things, and how it's not about giving the test. It's always about how you analyze the test and how you utilize it to improve in the next test. You always knew that this is the mock, right? This is not the real exam.
Yes,
So you
ma'am.
still have an opportunity to work on your weak zones and improve your scores, and which is what I think is important aspect of people who are getting top ranks as well. Right, so that's great. And I would like to ask Alpha that have you appeared for the PGI exam as well?
No, ma'am, I did not. Ma'am,
You did not.
I since I'm settled in Delhi, so I wanted to settle in Delhi for my PG as well. So I took admission to MAMC Radio, and I thought
Right.
yeah, AIIMS just taking the AIIMS exam was just my last attempt of taking any other PG exam. So I thought I'll just give it a try and fill that little void I had in my heart. So
Right. So how would
Thank
you,
you.
if I ask you to analyze the AIIMS paper this year for people who are going to appear in the exam in November, what would be your analysis of this paper? And if you could comment on what is sort of important for Central Institute as such, because you have given both the exams, NEET as well as AIIMS, and AIIMS exams twice. So what do you think should someone focus on? Although you've mentioned your own strategy, and I think that worked really well for you in a very short span of time, you were able to do very well. What would be your inputs for other candidates as well?
Ma'am, I would firstly like to say that AIIMS, there are two exams, AIIMS mid-year and AIIMS November. So with the kind of questions that come into play are AIIMS mid-year is more of a theoretical exam, and AIIMS November is more of a practical based exam. Like both kind of questions come in both exams, but when you weigh the type of questions, so that is one
Quite
thing. So also,
yeah.
yes, ma'am. So also one thing that since I think the lockdown affected the faculty to convert this exam into the entire single based response type. So I think it was because of that. But I personally believe that they will revert back to the new pattern, the assertion,
Yes.
reasoning, maths, the following. I believe that.
Yes, yes. The November would be back to the same new pattern questions where you will have all
Yes,
sorts of
ma'am.
questions coming up. Yes,
Yes.
great. And now,
So I think
Go ahead, go ahead.
I think 2020 is a very atypical year because the NEET paper was very atypical. The AIIMS paper is a little atypical with all the single base response. I think this time the images were also less in the exam,
Yeah. And
and
if I
the questions.
PGI exam was also atypical this time. PGI exam had image-based questions, so I think everybody
Right,
is
I
trying
heard that. Yes, ma'am.
uh,
Yes, ma'am.
in this time. And now I will, invite Dr. Sumer Alpha to ask you a couple of questions about your strategy. It is a pleasure to have you with us. So I invite Dr. Sumer now.
Hi Alpha, how you doing बेटा? कैसा लग रहा है?
Hi, sir. I'm great, sir. I feel amazing right now.
And I think it's such a pleasure to have you back to the DAM studio for a interview again. And my questions for you are these. I want you to tell us that what makes you a topper. Because it's like academics everybody has and everybody knows, but what about the mindset? Now, what do you tell yourself all the time that tells you that that propels you, that makes you go forward to the next step and next challenge?
So I think like it was a very different situation for me because I had Mamsi radio in my hand and I still had to decide whether I want to prepare for this exam or not. So the one thing would be persistence. Like if you are persistent in your mind, then you'll be persistent in your actions. So that is what I believe. So once I decided that I want to take the exam this time, I thought I'll give my best. And of course, there were many days where I felt very low and I wanted to just quit. So what I used to do, I used to take one day off from everything. So I used to watch a movie or play something on my PS4, anything, just to take my mind off studies. And that really used to help me a lot because the next day when I used to get back to studies, my mind was fresh. So that pretty much helped me a lot.
So I think what you have discussed is very, very important. I think people should learn from him that we need to balance the game. We need to have some break in between. We need to refresh our mind. And the key here is that we need to know what we want out of it. Like, he had radiology with him already. So he was giving the same exam to either get into, I think, Delhi AIIMS for radiology. I think that was your target. So that is why,
Yes, sir.
he was pushing it very hard so that, he makes it to the top list. And but the key here is to try. The key here is to give your best. Otherwise, you would regret. I think what Alpha said in the beginning of his interview was very important. He said that वो कुछ बाकी था, उसको खत्म भी तो करना था ना. So that void in his
Yes,
heart
sir.
was left that
Definitely.
that I have not given a good AIIMS exam. I have to give a good AIIMS exam before I go further in my journey in the post graduation. And I think you have closed it fairly well. I think fairly well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You know? And what branch you would be now be continuing now? What would be your idea
Sir,
now?
I'm very confused right now, and I'm going to speak to you about it also afterwards. I'm just like celebrating my rank right now, and I'll give it a thought one day or two to as to how I'll approach this, and
That's a good
so
idea.
I'll do.
Maybe you can do a Zoom party with your friends right now.
Yes, sir, definitely.
That is the only thing possible now. And if I, and I look forward to olden times if they come back again. I would love to have you in the physically, meet you in the office and
Yes, sir,
and
that is.
have you
I'll
chat with
definitely
the
come.
because this is I think the most difficult part of the modern era right now is the being stuck in the digital world. And
That
Alpha,
is true, sir.
also, yeah, I would now want you to give a message to future aspirants, out of your own experience. Can you share a message to future aspirants about how was your
Yes, sir.
dams, and how was how did you evolve in those 3 years, and and what do you think now when you look back, like when you're looking back right now, what do you think, what went right at what stage, and then maybe give a message to future aspirants based on your experiences.
So, like, I would say that, like, if you just have to make a decision, you have to decide what you want for yourself. If you decide something, then what you need is just hard work, and hard work, and smart work also. So, like, the things that you need to study need to be crisp. That is very important. You cannot go to like you cannot read because the medical field is very, very, very vast. So you cannot go to multiple like you cannot go back to your books and stuff. So that thing I made a point that I had a set of notes that I want to study, and I'll keep on revising these notes. The next thing, so I had an ambition. I had the material. Now I needed were two things. That was regularity and revision. That was extremely important for me because there were times when I was not very much motivated, but I had to be regular. So if I don't feel like studying, I would like study a very light and very short topic so that I'm regular. That I would not say that okay, आज तो पढ़ा नहीं मैंने and stuff like that. So I had to be regular and I had to keep revising because that is the key.
So if I put it in a nutshell, Alpha, the starting was you had an ambition. Then you collected the material, you attended classes, made notes, and then you added the most critical component of discipline and persistence and consistency into it. And I think that
Yes,
is
sir.
the key. And I think what we have to learn from him is the third part, which is I think most critical. I think consistency, because many people
That is
they
true,
break
sir.
down in the last because they are not having the discipline.
Yes, sir. So I'd like to put this into this thing that many people don't talk about it, but you need to have that particular circle, that group, which has you need to find those people who support you with everything. So because you won't be motivated throughout the year, and it's a lot of burden for some people to come back with a bad rank and then get back to study. So you need to have that set of people who will always be there to support you. For me, those are my family and my friends. So I'm glad I'm actually lucky to have these people in my life.
And I think that is the the cushion that we need, all of us need today in life, because of the stress around. You need a stress kind of a circle which saves you from that stress, I think, and the family and
Yes,
friends
sir,
are the
absolutely.
critical component.
Yes, sir.
And Alpha, it is such a pleasure to have you with us today, and I think
Same here,
you
sir.
have.
Same here.
Yes, and I think I really, really look forward to meeting you again physically as well once you are
Me
there.
too, sir.
We a great idea to visit the DAMS office, and we'll be able to meet the students, prospect future students as well. It
Yes,
will
sir.
be a great great day then, and we will definitely felicitate you again then also. And it's my pleasure. But
Thank you so much, sir.
today we will end this interview by making the customary V sign on the. Now we will make it on the internet now. Okay, so on the count, we will make it
Yes,
one,
sir.
two. Okay. Best of luck, Beta. Best of luck. And
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
best. It has been a pleasure to see you grow from a third year student. Now, you are pursuing your residency already, and I wish you all the best for future as well.
Thank you so
God
much,
bless.
sir. Thank you, sir.
God bless.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you, sir.